There's a quote by Alan Watts. Stop measuring days by degrees of productivity and start experiencing them by degrees of presence. In this sequence, we'll be focusing on the hips, inviting them to passively, gently open, allowing us to get more awareness to what our hips are doing and to invite them to be a little more open. If you have blocks, have them handy, but we can still do most of the sequence without blocks. Maybe all of it, depending on how you're feeling. Come on to the front of the mat, feet hip distance apart. Step your left foot back as far as you can. Bend your right knee and lower both hands to the mat on either side of the right foot. Or you can place your hands on blocks if you're using blocks. Step the left foot back just a touch further and lower that left knee to the mat. Gently soften the hips forward. Just breathe here. Go as deep into the pose as you can. And when your body says it's gone as far as it can, just passively hang out here, suggesting your hips to loosen a little more without forcing anything. We'll be here for several breaths. Just breathe into the pose. See if you can relax. If you're using blocks, you may find that after a minute or so you can lower the blocks. Or just keep them where they are, but think about gently letting the hips come forward towards the front of the mat. Couple more breaths. And now bring both hands to the inside of the right foot. And again, softly let the hips come forward. Hug that right shoulder to the right. Hug that right knee to the right shoulder. Press it into the shoulder. A couple more breaths. And then step the right foot back beside the left. And now step the left foot forward, as far forward as you can, placing each hand on either side of the left foot. Hands on the mat or on blocks. And gently soften the right hip forward. If you need extra padding for the back knee, you can double up your mat or place a blanket under it. And breathe into the pose, going as far as you can, and then hanging out, passively encouraging that, your hips forward. Think of relaxing, letting go. And now bring both hands to the inside of the left foot, sending the hips forward, maybe bending your elbows. Hugging that left knee, pressing it into the left shoulder. Couple more breaths. And step the left knee back beside the right. Untuck your toes. Having your hands on the mat, gently lower your hips over your heels, stretching your arms forward, letting your head lower. It might hang or maybe reach the mat. Let's take a couple of deep breaths here. And slowly come up to a seated position. If your hips are feeling tight, feel free to sit on a block or a blanket, something to elevate your hips. With your knees halfway between your heels and sit bones, walk your feet together Hands on the mat behind you. Let your knees open. And with your hands on the mat behind you, you can either stay here, if this is already enough of a stretch for your hips, or with your hands, press them away from you, folding forward, reaching your chest forward. Maybe today your hands can reach your feet. Just hang out here, letting your knees open wide. Again, just passively letting them go as far as they can, and then breathing into the stretch. And think of relaxing the knees. Let them open on their own time when they're ready. You might find after a few breaths, your body loosens forward just a touch. Or you might keep your hands on the mat behind you the whole time. See what's best for you. One more breath. And slowly come up. Place each hand on the outside of each knee and bring your knees together. Swing your feet behind you. Come to a standing position and take your feet wide. Feet parallel to each other. Each foot pressed flat into the mat. If you have blocks, you can keep them handy. You may or may not need them. Take a deep inhale here. As you exhale, fold. Let your hands reach the mat or blocks. And let your upper body melt towards the mat. Now from here, if you're using blocks, take them with you. Bend your left knee. Press your right foot flat into the mat. And walk your hands to your left foot. Maybe you get a nice little stretch on that inner thigh. And then walk your hands back to center, straightening your left leg, bend your right leg as you walk your hands to your right foot, on blocks or on the mat, pressing that left foot flat into the mat. Come on back to center, walk your feet together, and come to a seated position. Spread your legs wide in a V-shaped position. Now reach under each thigh and internally rotate the thighs. Take a look at your feet and have each of them vertical. If this is too uncomfortable, you can either sit on a block or bend your knees slightly, but work towards straightening your legs. And from here, again, you can start with the hands on your mat behind you, pushing the mat away from you to send your chest forward, maybe staying here or walking your hands forward. And we'll passively stay here for a minute or so. Just breathe into this. Let your body stretch and open naturally, passively. With every exhale, invite your body to sink just a touch more into the pose. Couple more breaths. Slowly come on up. can keep your legs where they are. Bend the left leg and bring the sole of the left foot to the right knee. Let that left knee open. Again, you might still sit on a block here. And now with your torso, twist to the right to face your straight leg. Place your left hand on the outside of your right leg. Take a deep inhale here. As you exhale, just gently send your chest forward, maybe walking your hands forward. Or if your hips are just feeling a little tight today, you can just keep your hands on the mat behind you. And with your hands, gently offering your torso forward. Just try to breathe into the stretch. See it as an invitation to allow your body to loosen and open just a little more. One more breath, and slowly come on up. Straighten your left leg and bring the sole of your right foot to your left knee. Turn your torso to the left as you're facing your straight leg, placing your right hand to the outside of the left leg. Take a deep inhale, exhaling, fold forward. Don't worry about how far you go. Or maybe you keep your hands on the mat behind you, gently sending your chest forward. Just breathe here, releasing when you can. Just passively encouraging a gentle release. Couple more breaths. And slowly come on up. Lift your right foot, keep that foot flexed, and place the right ankle on top of the left thigh above the knee. Start with your hands on the mat behind you and gently push your chest forward. Let that right knee open away from you. Excuse me. This might be already enough of a stretch right here. Or if you'd like to go deeper, bend the straight leg, placing the foot on the mat, pushing that right knee away from you. The closer you bring the left heel to the sit bone, the deeper you go. And keep that right foot flexed. That's just a little easier on the knee. Breathing into the pose. Think of letting go, releasing. A couple more breaths. And then straighten your left leg, straighten your right leg, and bending your left knee, flexing that left foot. Place the left ankle on the right thigh. Start with your hands on the mat behind you. Let that left knee open away from you. This might be as far as you want to go on this side. Or bend the right knee, placing the foot on the mat. Offering that left knee forward. Closer you bring that right heel to the sit bone, the deeper you go. Just find the best position for you on this side. And hang out here and breathe, relax. Try to let go. Can you push that left knee away just a little bit more? And one more breath. Straighten your legs. Come on to a seated position. Thank you for practicing today. Namaste.